you know what it is that you want him to be an oracle for. We just want to commit this interview that whichever way it goes, that it will not just be good enough for us, but it will be what you want. People who will want it are going to hear. So we pray that you can ask Charles to ask the questions, you guide him. Guide him what to ask. He may have questions he has planned in his mind, but he may have the openness to listen to the prompting and direction. And myself, Lord, I pray that even the answer that I give may not just be what is suitable or what I think is good for hearing, but it will be truth and be also what you know. People who you have chosen to listen to this recording need to hear. And they will be touched and the hearts will be spoken to. They will have a glimpse of you, just us. But then they say, this is what the Lord can do. I want that Lord to apply in my life. Pray you cut away any destructive noise, anything that may distract. Deny the pure quality of this recording. Pray that cameras will work well. Yes. Effective power. Thank you, Lord. Yes, thank you, pray.
Amen. Thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, Charles. How are you?
I'm very well. Batata, we're here. We have gotten the best that there is for this weekend, for this session. And it's very hard to interview this gentleman. Extremely hard. So please bear with me. He is extremely humble. He is a prince at that. And his time is extremely valuable. So if you can actually bear and give us some time, I encourage just to open up your hearts. I know that there could be some issues that you're addressing, that you're facing, that are heavy. He is here. He has over 30 years of marriage, of being a tata. I hope I'm right.
Yeah?
Yes. You see, I'm a prophet of that. But on a serious note, please open up your hearts. I believe that God has a journey for us. I really believe. So I'm going to ask him a few questions. Okay? And in your heart, you can also ask. All right? Are you with me? You're welcome. Mr. Madigo, how are you?
I'm okay, Charles. How are you?
I'm very well. Friends, by the way, before I go any further, I think you like the ambience. Do you like the ambience? It's beautiful. This is a counseling area. I will tell you the reason and the thing that inspired me at the right time. Okay? Mr. Madigo, please tell us about you. What is your name? How do you have liberty to speak German?
My name is Arora Chua Majugo.
Chua? I didn't know that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm 55 years old. Yes, I'm married. I have 3 adult children. They have both finished school and they are trying to get on with what the Lord wants them to do in life. What do I do currently? I do a number of things, but the key things that I focus on, my wife and I do Christian para-counseling. We do it in the area of relationships. Relationship with God, relationship with yourself, and relationship with others. That's one thing I do. Then once in a while I do a bit of youth work. I give talks just about life, about discipleship, trying to make this God a part of everyday life, of everything that concerns you. Not a God who concerns you only on Sunday in church, but how do you live with him through your week, through the different life challenges, life aspirations, successes, just how God works in that whole entire life of somebody. And then other times I also do some bit of NGO consultants in the area of management, evaluating people's strategy, their performance, that kind of work. And also I do some farming also.
You farmer?
I do goat farming.
Goats.
Trying trying to build grow a commercial goat farm.
Commercial.
Yeah, it's not a hobby.
Friends, I think you're getting more comfortable. I'm very keen on asking him a little bit about his background, okay? About his father. Please tell us about your father.
So, my father, professionally, was a doctor, but interestingly, he had 3 phases of his career. The first part, maybe could be probably maybe 2/5 of his life, where maybe 1/5 of his life was doing medicine purely, and then I got to learn recently that he worked for government then, but they were not paying well, and so he left to start his private practice in Hoima. And so being in Hoima, going into the 60s towards independence, he ended up engaging a bit in politics, which later brought him into public, should I say, working for government, let me say public service. That could have taken maybe about almost 3/5 of his life. So he worked with government, he worked in public service, commission, then he also worked as a minister in Sakran community just before Amin broke away from it. And then he came back and worked for government in Ministry of Education. There he spent a long time. And then the final years of his, after he had retired from government, he worked with the main hospital as a medical superintendent. He worked there for about 3-4 years before he passed away. So that was basically his life. Yeah. And as a father, he really cared. He wanted to see, he used to tell us that there are many things I could want to give you, but the best thing I want to give you is education. Equip you so that you have tools to be able to do with what you want to do with yourself. That was his goal. He said, don't look at what I have. What I have is mine. Go and make yours.
But that don't be like, have you heard?
Yeah, and I think it was an issue of not to relax, not to feel you already have. No, you have to make your
entitlement.
An entitlement, good. Entitlement attitude, you didn't want that. And so he was like, no, guys, you've got to work with a mindset of, just build your own life, build your career, and live. Yeah. Do your best that you can. So that was he. He was strict, very, very strict. I remember he'd make sure, we used to have a report reading day. Yeah, so as the whole house gathers, and he goes through everybody's report. All of us are hearing. And I think it was an issue of, as he reads your report, he expresses why he's not happy with you, hoping that the others will learn what not to do, and then where it is good, he praises, where those others learn that, this is what is good. And then the interesting thing he used to do, although I didn't have to go through that, because by the time I went to actually senior secondary, S1, S2, is when he fell ill. He passed away from cancer, so it took about 2 years. But what I remember, from my older sibling, I'm the last born in the family. So the older siblings, what used to happen, that day also was, he would check the expenditure report. How did they use the pocket money? He gave them.
For real?
Oh yeah.
As in, you get your pocket money, I bought bread, I bought
sumbusa,
cassava.
Yes. So that whilst he was, he didn't mind what you bought, because of course most times that's what I do, you're buying grab.
Yes.
Which was okay. But he was trying to teach us, how using your money, how are you planning, I've given you this, I'm coming probably in the middle of the term, are you going broke within the first week? Are you using your money well? Are you stretching it enough, And, so it was really, call it teaching us accountability, okay? And funny enough, one thing that inculcated in us is record keeping. And I like keeping records. Maybe not to the strictness, but I try to keep my records. Then, of course, he was a man. Maybe also because a medical person, you're always writing down somebody's his diagnosis, they're supposed to come up again. So you want to pick up from where you stopped. So that record keeping thing was very keen. So
it's ingrained in him.
yeah, so you should look at my laptop. I have my folders very organized. Records for this. I have a file for you, Charles, a folder for you, Charles. All my dealings with you right there.
Yes, yes.
You know, and that's, so all those were things that were not taught directly but picked up, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, and then also he was a disciplinarian. And one of the things that was very good that he taught us that discipline is trying to teach you. Okay? So when you did something wrong, he would ask you before he punished you. He'd say, "Why am I going to punish you? Tell me why." Because it was important for him to understand that he's not trying to cause pain to you. No, he's disciplining you for something wrong that you have done. And a good thing he was a doctor, so his caning was also very medical, very calculated. The number of sticks were countable, you know. And
was it a stick or a belt?
no stick.
Oh, just a stick.
Because it was a whole process, a very ritual.
Process.
You come. So why am I going to punish you? Yeah, because I did this. What would you have done? And then, okay, now I'm going to punish you. And after punishing you, he was supposed to say thank you, because he is not. It's a learning moment.
Yes.
But also, he also treasured integrity. So if you did something wrong and you came and reported yourself, I remember famously, I kicked the ball and it broke a glass, a window. And when he came, I told him, he said, "Okay, that's good. You need to own up what you've done wrong."
What is good? The breaking or the
owning up.
owning up, okay.
There was a cost going to be paid, but he said it's good that you've owned up. You've had the integrity to come and say, "I've done wrong." So even that was something inculcated in us, you know, be truthful, you know. And it's so, many times people tell lies because they are afraid of what's going to happen. But you know, he taught us, you know, sometimes truth helps, you know. And you know what happened in my work life, I carried it, you know. Sometimes to speak truth, and I used to even argue when you've done wrong. And it's not weakness, but it's actually strength. And it gives people respect you when you own up when you've done something wrong. But besides that, do the right thing also. So those are some of the key things I remember about him. Yeah.
Your father is, just out of curiosity, would you think your father is 1 out of 1,000 or 10,000?
Okay, having lived under him, if I was given a choice,
Yes.
I'll still choose him to be my dad. That's what I would say.
But compared to some of the other people that you know.
No, he's. Can I tell you honestly?
Yes.
I wouldn't even want to compare him. He was just unique.
Was unique. Mr. Majigo, is it because, friends, I did some search about him. You can actually Google. You shall find that there is royalty around him. No wonder there is nobility. Is it because of, okay, I've done a bit of study about the British, the kingdom, how Charles and the like, they go through strict formalities of how to carry themselves, the etiquette, the way they handle, the way they think. Are you saying that that is because of royalty, or because he was just a man of his own stance?
No, interestingly.
Or maybe tell us about your royalty.
Okay. My dad was actually, he was born in 1918. 1918, yeah. And we are 14 children, and I'm the last of the 14, so you can see the length of time. So the time he was born, it was really, the kingdom was still existing. The kingdoms are still there. And his father was a direct son of Kabalega.
What?
One of the eldest children of Kabalega. So he was Kabalega was his grandfather. Wow. But interestingly, my dad used to tell us, "I don't want you to go around telling people royalty is not, while it is a birthright, but he said true royalty is how you carry yourself. So he used to tell us, I don't want you to go around telling people you are royal and adding to your name prince. He said, no. You be royal in your character. But don't want to be royal because you belong to the little clan. No, no, no. Besides that, in all honesty, sometimes, truthfully, there is not so much to be proud of about the behavior of the royals.
That shall be edited.
There's not much, you know. There's not much to be, in terms of their lifestyle and what. And maybe that's why he used to tell us, no, no, no. Don't go around telling people you're royal. I don't do it myself. So you shouldn't. And what I want you to do is conduct yourself well. Conduct yourself in such a way people just honor you, not because of your birthright, no, but just because of your character. And he lived to that. I remember one time having an argument with a relative about choice of marriage. And he was really harping so much about it. And I told him, but you know, my father never harped so much about his royalty. Never. Never. So I cannot use that as a criteria in my choices. It is the character of a person. He taught us that is very important. So if I'm choosing a person to marry, it will be character. Yes. Not where they are born, which family they come from. No. Although my wife comes from a good family, respectable family, but it wasn't the key choice. It was her. I like the person that she was. And then later when I got to know her family, and it was an additional plus. It's a good family. Yeah.
Friends, you want to know who he married? Another time. Mr. Majiko, you have taken us through certain things that are somewhat telling the Bataata that royalty is not in itself sufficient. Thank you for putting it aside. However, it does not take away the fact that many of us, the Bataata, we have real mannerism. We are broken. We didn't have good fathering. And I want to create this new word, Bataatahood. Okay? That has not been the case. And hence, there's a lot of that in our families. There's a lot of that in our understanding among others. In your own perspective, I'm glad that you have said that your father is unique in his own right. Now you have started the Bataata journey. I want to pitch in before I ask you about you fathering of the children. How can you encourage the Bataata to find a footing of sorts, how they can tap into the traits of who you are, the traits of nobility that is part and parcel of character? I'm saying it to enlarge and make that question general because I know Christianity is important. I know a good family background is key, but somehow there is a missing link. How have you grown yourself? Because I don't think your father did all the qualities you're talking about from him. How did you groom yourself to reach that level?
There's a joke, people say that royals have blue blood. But Charles, if I got a razor and cut myself and you will all have red blood.
Should we?
So, but I think sometimes, let me say about royalty, it's hyped. It's an accident of birth.
Come on.
Yeah. It's an accident of birth. I mean, none of us planned. I didn't plan that I should be born in this family. But here I am.
Yes.
So now, going back to your question about how do you groom good character? Again, I can only speak from what I saw from my father, right? And I must say, to a large extent, I pick I just don't know why he was like that. You see, somebody. He was actually known to be a very humble person. Most people who knew him say, Dr. Ivan Majugo, very humble person. It's like he won respect and favor from people, not because of his qualifications. Maybe those may have opened doors for him. Maybe in the time that he was born, since there were kingdoms, maybe that could have opened the door for him. Kind of schools he went to, because the time he went to, he studied in Budo, and Budo tended to be a place where in these times of kids. Yeah. So all those could have worked out for him, but no, he was not. He was not. If you talk about him, at least for the people who know him, now it's long past. Since he passed away. He passed away in 1985. Time has passed, but even for those who remember him, they don't remember him because of his royalty. No, even because of being a doctor, but it was just his character. I'll give an example. When we used to have, when the church that used to attend cancer and apology February,
yes.
Okay, and they were distributed in zones, and we were in the zone called Sunday. So sometimes they would say, this Sunday zone you're leading. So members of the Sunday zone would gather to have choir. And I remember one person saying that one of the boys to come, and then he said, you want Dr. Majugo? Even if you left a cover of a pen, they will keep it for you and give it to you when you come back.
Wow.
So now, is that royalty?
Wow.
Is that being a doctor? It is character. So, again, my names. I happen to be the old person now in our family.
It has been a bother. Continue.
All others have, these Chris, John, Stella, Irene,
Yes.
So my dad told my mom, this one, he's not going to get English names that I used to say. He's going to get African names. And my mom was saying, but look, he'll be like the old person out, He said no. And so that I said that debate went on because in the Anglican church, I was baptized at 12 years old. Yeah, because my dad, there was that continuous debate that was never resolved.
Yes.
But until finally, now I think my mom said, why did the boy get baptized? So at 12 I was given those names. And but you see, his instance was this, that fine, you may have a Christian name, but that doesn't make you a Christian. Right? But it has to be something more than a name. It's your character. So that even at a young age made me accept it. I realized, no, maybe because he was a hero, I tended to believe everything he said. But to him it was, but that was very profound for me. Very profound for me in the sense that, okay, I'm a Christian not because of my name, but it has to come from my believing and living as a Christian. So that is what even led me into finally even giving my life to Christ, because I was saying, well, right now I've been baptized. I thought I'd feel some magical thing. I didn't feel it. But I just had this belief that there must be something that should happen. So it was in my S1 that somebody came and preached to me, and I felt, this is it. This is now where Christianity really is. He explained in such a way that was attractive, that made much meaning to me, and something to me in life. It's a faith. It's a faith. It's a faith. It is not a denomination. It's a faith in God. So you can see it worked out. And now, so when we talk about, okay, so how should fathers raise their children, which was somewhere you were leading to.
Yes.
Charles, like I said, sometimes we have been brought here by God's plan, okay? And He chooses which families we are to be in, okay? It's like you walk on the road, street side, you see a kid. These ones who are begging, Pachiko, you want, and you ask yourself, why haven't I tie one of them? Why haven't I the one who's begging us born in families that are very stable. Some people are born in families that are dysfunctional. And sometimes you're either blessed that stability helps you be focused in life, or sometimes that stability can also make you wayward because you have entitlement mentality.
Yes.
But also you can be born in a family where there's strife, right? And sometimes by the nature of the dynamics in the place, the continuous wars, steps, polygamy, different wives, fighting, Sometimes that also can become destructive and begin to form your outlook to life and morals. Maybe the only way to get out of life is lying. The only way to make out in life is fight hard. If you happen to be the child who is neglected by your father, he's overstretched, or he doesn't like your mother, he sends her away and you go in all of you. So a lot of things begin, then you go with anger, you have this bitterness towards your father, and then there's that whole strife. So a lot of things happen. But in the midst of this, so sometimes people's behavior is formed by the circumstances that brought in. But at the end of the day, we all know what is right, what is wrong. And I think as a father, all you can do is, what is it you want to do for your child that you never got? Or what do you want to do for your child that is better than you got? In terms of, yes, what you provide for them, but also what you were never taught. Now that an adult, by the time you become a father, I believe you're an adult.
Yes.
You have some understanding of life. So how can you make sure that you help your child not go the path that you came from? More like you want to reorient the child. Bring back your child as best as you can, the best way that you. Remember, you have your things you've missed out, things you've gone through. How can you bring them back on track in the best way? So it's not about being a perfect father, but it's doing the best that you can. And that becomes that thing that you pick up, that your child picks up, and he adds on as he learns to life. Okay? I'll give an example. So when I was going to start working, my mother told me, Arora, you have two choices. You're going to work. You can go and be a good worker.
Yes.
And the people who supervise you, the authorities above you, will really love you because you're a good worker. You'll also have peers and subordinates who love you because they love the way you work. They want to work with you, you inspire them. That's one choice. The other choice you have is you can go and be such a lousy worker. Lousy, don't care. Your superiors may not be happy with you, but those may not mind you because your lousiness probably works for them. You also have peers, some who will see you like them, and they're happy that you're part of their gang of people who don't want to work.
Lousy guys.
Yes, and they are happy with you, but then there are those who won't like you because of that. Even your subordinates, they will love you because you're lousy, you don't care about them. So so I wait and I say, okay, now what is she doing? Good worker, lousy, what is she telling me to do? And then she says, now I leave the choice for you to make. So she didn't tell me, but it is, so she just said, the choice is yours. As you start work, and choose which path you're going to go. So, and to me, what that tells me is that what is going to take me there? What's going to make me make the choice between taking the route of being a duty-minded person or just a person who doesn't care? Lack of purpose, That question, and she left me to answer it. She didn't tell me, but she just said, you make your choice and go. I think it was more like a challenge, more like maybe she was confident that there are things we have taught you.
Yes.
Okay. We hope that you use them. that you can teach your child a little or the much that you know, so that you can confidently tell them, you know, now time has come for you to step out. Go and make your choices.
Mr. Majigo, now that you are raising that aspect, I'm a bit jealous, but also envious, but also desirous for the Batata to see how we can create a cultural source. But before I go there, have you had any moment in your life when you have been really heartbroken to the point that you wonder maybe about your growth? Maybe your wife has been so broken that her eyes squarely looked into you as a provider of care, of direction and strategy, and even of food, even your children. Could you tell us some of that moment so that you can help me to balance the challenge, that character aspect how it rolls out?
So, you know, when you start working,
Yes.
that entry level, you're open to what comes your way and you do it.
Okay.
For most people, others will choose something, but whatever, whether it's a choice you've made or it's what's before you and you're doing it. But in a way, it's what drives you is it's opportunity of a job you got and you want to live in an independent life. And probably you had wanted a better job, but you just say, this is what I have, let me start now. Maybe I'll see how in the future I build my career, do a bit of studies here and there, do your job well so that at least you have what right on your CV of what you have accomplished, and aim higher. So, but then there's a point that comes when you begin to, for some people it's later, for some people it comes early. When you kind of feel a bit dissatisfied, and you want to look for you're dissatisfied with the work you're doing, you're dissatisfied, you feel like it is not tapping into
the core of yourself.
Yeah, the core of yourself. Sometimes for some people it is money. I want to get in the money that I want with my dreams that I have. And so in your youth you make decisions, sometimes without thinking much about the implications. So I remember here I was, I believe, yes, I had worked in, I can't remember exactly, but anyway, let's say I got to that point and I felt I wanted to do more. So I took a risk. I had this hope that another job would come up soon, and when it comes, I don't want to lose it because of this notice I'm supposed to give.
For 3 months, whatever it is. Oh.
Now, some people usually say, never leave a job until you have got another, which is wise. And maybe I should have heeded. So for me, I took the risk of leaving because I was so confident that I would get the job. And unfortunately,
You got the job.
I didn't get it.
Sorry for that continuous.
And I left and I said, no, to come through. To come through, this job ended and I'm hanging there. Now, of course, you're young, you haven't really saved that much. And I remember we used up all our savings. And we had even made another decision as a family that we were going to homeschool our children. And with that decision, we felt, Julia, my wife, felt that, I'm going to dedicate time to really give my time to these children, because she had been teaching international schools, which we couldn't afford to take our kids there. And then she said, no, So homeschool is happening. Here I am also making my own youthful risks. We hit a crunch. She's at home. I'm at home. I'm hoping with all the faith, and the money is dwindling. Charles.
You got your COVID that time.
No, it was
your lockdown.
It was my lockdown, yes, that's it. And I remember that I ran out of money, and we could see that the end was sure. Here we have 3 little children, happy to have their mom and dad around all the time, not knowing what it meant for them. It was tight. Charles, I remember the last day when I knew, of course now in situations like those, you the adults now begin to resort to taking 1 meal, so the kids take 3 meals. So even getting to that stage, and I remember the day when we were eating our last food. And I remember days leading to that, I kept saying, if there is one foolish man in this world,
it's not you.
He's called Arora. Yeah. This is one of the most foolish men in the world. Anyway, we managed to get through. We managed to get throughout it, and job came through. But it was a hard and very trying time. Now, would I attribute it to my father's upbringing and the way my father raised me? No. I think there's also a person that we are. There's a person that we are. We can blame our parents. It is true. We don't grow like weeds. We are born by parents. Of course, there are those who abandon their children, but largely, majority of kids are raised by their children, whichever way we talked about it. So there are those things that you carry on that affect you, and influence the way you look at life, the decisions that you make. But there's also you. There's also a person that you are. In fact, Erickson, a philosopher, says that when you get to your adult age, he talks about the different stages of life and how they affect you. But he says when you get to the age of an adult, it's a time where you have seen a fair bit of life, like at 18. It's true, a lot of your decisions may be influenced by what has happened before you, but again, you have at least the capacity to look beyond yourself and your family and begin to make your own decisions. So I cannot attribute that to my family. It was my own decision. Risk. Maybe I'm a risk taker, but I think risk should be measured. But what I learned, I can say, is that, which I can say Bataata,
Yes.
or out there, you need to learn one thing, that every decision that you make, it has a direct impact on your children. Direct. So always, in your decision making, always consider that as a factor. How is it going to affect your family? Well, there are more wiser men than me. They would never have made such a decision, but I made it. I had this faith within me, and job would open, but it didn't come soon as expected.
I'm just very keen. You've talked about your experience with God. I have worked with a number of Bataata to the point that they call you to ask you, do you have like a 20,000? For others, 20,000 in Uganda is about $100.
Could be about maybe 4.
You look for, it's about $5, $6.
It's about $5, $6, $6, $6, $6, $7.
Now this is a man that has 2 children and a wife, and is looking for that money for milk and a bit of bread and then food. We know that we are. So you realize that that dollar, that $6, $7 is really, really trivial. I'm just king. Where does God play in?
Yeah. You see, Charles, maybe because
The reason I'm raising this is that I know someone who says that God does not help. Other people have said that Mama Fina is a better helper.
mm,
Others have really sold up their souls. It has become tough. The child is hungry, there is no milk, the child is screaming, and the mother again is screaming. There is no peace in the home. I think I relate. The question at hand is that, no, I've said it. Where does God play in? All that spirituality can also work for me.
yeah, maybe having lived as a Christian for now 40 years, as born again, maybe I may make the assumption that it's an easy thing to bring God into your situation. So if I finish the story, if I may bring how it ended, you see how God works is that in God you find grace, right? So I made a foolish decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would. It was foolish, okay? I didn't give clear thought. But you see, the grace of God
It's
is
sufficient.
sufficient because our God is that kind of Father who knows we make mistakes, genuine ones, genuine in terms of the way we reason at the point,
At that time.
at the time, the way you reason, and in His grace He makes a way. He's like my dad. You break a window, very foolish, but He says, it's okay. At least you have told me. You have not lied to me. Pretended that I come and ask who broke my name, saying I don't, nobody did cover for you, but you came out and worked out. So God's grace worked in this way for us because even as we went through that, we prayed. Even once I hit myself, who was I crying to? I couldn't cry to my kids, couldn't cry to my wife. In those moments when I was saying I was foolish, I was saying it to God, saying, God, I've been so foolish. Just have mercy. So the first the first help came in that in that week when we were heading towards our last meal, one of the schools that Julia had taught him called her. I said, no, Julia, I know you made a decision to homeschool your children, but you have a crisis. There's a teacher who's away. Can you just give us 2 weeks? Now, I was at home. So Julia said, you step in and you go and do this work. Now, naturally, when you work for 2 weeks, they probably pay you at the end of the 2 weeks. But it so happened that in this first week, as it comes to a close on Friday, which I remember was actually our last meet was a Friday, and I was just wondering, oh my goodness, what are we going to eat? What will our kids eat? Now, that was the end of her first week there. Then, out of the blue, the finance office, she was one of the finance officers said, by the way, Julia, would you want us to pay you for the 1 week you've worked? And so she said, yeah, no problem.
Come.
Yeah,
Knowing that.
Oh yes.
It's not just grab.
Part of that's another thing we should talk about. Part of being an adult, it's not good to go around telling for your problems.
Yes.
And for me, my issue was that, Lord, I have made this decision. I don't want to be a burden to my siblings. I didn't even tell them. None of them knew what we're going through. Because I felt, I must face up to this. And I need you, God, to help me. So, I remember I'm now prepared the meal for lunch and the kids are happy for them. They're just happy. They don't know.
Have no clue. How old were they by that time?
Oh my, Gabriel, that time was, I think, about 8 years old. No clue, the friends are just, life is okay, it's good to be a child. And so I had a border riding in.
Yes.
So I went to check and I said it was Julia. And she was carrying Boveras. And in no doubt in my heart I said, but I was wondering, where has she got this from? Has she borrowed money? What is that? And the Shikana told me they paid me for my first week. So for me, I could say God in His mercy just saw this prodigal son and said, you know what,
Yambi.
mercy. So so bring that into, that's why fathers, I think the world puts an undue burden on men. And you're not supposed to fail. You should always look smart in terms of the decisions that you make. Basically, there's no room for error. And so men live with undue pressure on themselves to prove, to make sure they don't make a mistake, which is good. But let's say sometimes life happens. We also make mistakes. And then the world comes hard on you. And probably that's why I couldn't tell people. Because I didn't want to look foolish. I mean, how do I explain? You had a good job, but what do you mean? What did you do? That's hope you put in a what? Had you got it in your hands? A bird in hand is better than two in them. So what do I have to? So and I think men face those situations and they keep quiet. And some of them, that is the point in which they make even worse decisions and just take them off the rails. So I think the place of Christianity is that knowing that there is a God who created you, which means by the time He created you, He knew there was value in you, and there was something that would come out of you that He would do through you. So it's okay when you make mistakes and you fail, go back to Him and say, Lord, foolish mistake, and I made a wonderful foolish mistake. Just have mercy on me and help me. And I can assure you, go with that sense of humility before God. He will help you. He will help you.
Batata, what I've gotten, I want you to summarize it. Just this first bit of the morning, is that if you could just look into your lives. Personally, I've been leaning so much into Him and I've gleaned so much from Him to be who I am today. But I wanted to just give you the 3 things that I feel that I've gleaned from Him, and I'll ask Him to summarize it for us. I think, fathers, you believe, you can see that it is important to consider your background, however flimsy it is, that even if it is so bad, please consider someone whom you can look at. Okay? He has not encouraged us to do that, but for me, I've looked at him and I've gleaned that from him. Secondly, he has the second point is what I want to end with. He has brought in the aspect of being honest before God. And I don't want to emphasize that so much, but that honesty can help you a lot. The third one that I can comfortably speak is that, man, just build your character. Whatever decision you make is going to affect you and your children, as well as your wife. And then the peace will be gone. Consider the decisions you make. Mr. Majibo, help us to summarize that. But can you just tell these wonderful men, summarize whatever you feel in your heart, and you can use that authority that you have, that is empowered of God, to call us to a bit of accountability, call us to a place of growth, or whatever you feel in your heart. Yes.
Well, so what I would say is that I think the beauty of being a Christian, to be a Mlokole, to be born again, I know we portray ourselves as we have made it, and make people feel less than and inferior, okay? Because they are Mlokole. But for me, to say you're born again is an admission that you cannot make it in life alone.
Very true.
So Abalokole, we are weak, and we have accepted it and say, no, I can't go in this life, I need God.
Yes.
It's an admission. Those ones who are not saved, they feel we can struggle, we can make it. Okay. You go on with your life. But for me, that's what it is. So to be saved defines the fact that this is somebody who has admitted that they cannot make it in life on their own, and they need God. Now, Charles, do you know what tomorrow is going to be?
No.
Do your friends know?
No, they don't.
Yeah. And then, can you rely on your friends? Sometimes the time you know who your true friend is when you're in need. Okay? And, or when you are somebody and everybody is gravitating towards you. Then when you lose everything that you have, everybody scatters. Okay? And so I just want to just urge men that your safest place, your best friend should be God.
It should be God.
Yeah. Should be your best friend. That should be your best friend. Because for him, he wants nothing from you. He already has what he has. In fact, it is in your greatest benefit to be his friend. Okay? But now, when you seek validation from the friends that you have, from the accolades you have achieved,
Yes.
all those things are temporary. Anything can happen.
This thing just goes.
There's nothing that you have today that you can be so sure of you'll have tomorrow. Wealth, even the Bible says, can simply fly out of a window. By just one decision, something of your own making or something not of your making. Okay? A disease can hit you, and all the money you saved, you put it into treating yourself, and you go down, and even you pass on and leave your family. So, then, our best friend should be God. And then the next best friend should be somebody who also fears and honors God. One who you can go to, and he'll tell you, I hear you, that's a tough place. If he can help you, well and good. If he can't, at least can hold you and say, let's pray. Let me stand with you and pray and see how God does this thing for you. That's the next friend you should have, a friend who knows God and fears him. It's great security. Everything else, I don't know what I can say. For me, that's been my journey in life. And truth is that those people are not many. Not many people. Not many people have that heart to accept, even among Christians. But sometimes for Christians it's worse.
Oh yes.
Because when things go wrong, they say, oh, it's the devil, the demons. He didn't do this, he didn't do this,
He's cursed.
You're cursed, you're what, you need to do. No, guys. So the only friend, that friend who says, let me hold you by the hand. If I can help you, I'll help you. If I can't, let's pray together and see God do a miracle for us. Those are the kind of people you need.
Thank you. Like he said, there are very few. But after we have started this journey, it is more of a mandate. We have committed ourselves that we shall look for the men that are that caliber, that kind of people, that kind of character, that we shall decide to ask them to walk with a few more of us. Now I'm just encouraging, I'm letting you know this because we have started the journey. Like you have seen some of the people that you have brought on board, like Fred Kauma, that elder, pure in heart. Now, once again, they are very few, but the journey has begun. We are going to meet more and more. They have, I'm being tempted to whisper some other names that have been whispered to us that should come on board. The journey has begun. I'm encouraging you that consider to listen to these podcasts as often as you can. We anticipate that maybe in the next 3-4 months, probably in April, we might have a conference of men where we have finished identifying some of the cultured men that are sound, who are very genuine, that can begin to glean some of this information from and to better us. And then we shall begin that society, that community of men that are what we need. And you should consider to be one of them. I want to close off with this as we take our break, because I want to come back and ask a few more deeper questions to do with actual parenting. How has he raised his children? What has been the challenges thereof? how do you deal with your wife when the things are really tough? I will not ask him to tap into the counseling sessions that he holds to give us some information. No, 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 no. That is not ethical. However, we shall still ask. But as we close off this, I'm going to ask him to just bless you. Open up your hearts. Let him bless you. Okay? Mr. Majigo, please.
Yeah, so what I'll just end by saying is that I strongly believe that in the wisdom of God, there's always somebody around the circles that you interact with, your associations, your social networks. There's always somebody, even as we talk now, you're a man who's out there. If you just sit back a little bit, you'll find that there are some people who you know that are people who that you would say, this is a good man I'd like to. And you don't even have to, these are the kind of people you don't even have to introduce yourself. You know them, you even have talked to them, you said hello. At least there's been some little bit of interaction, but then you'll not be a stranger. So I encourage you, just step out, you'll be amazed. Because these are people that God, I believe, has placed in your way. Because some of those you run to, they reject you. They even stop picking your calls. They even block you out. You go and you say, what's happening? Because you're trying to, I think you just need, I would say, ask God to guide you. Say, God, who is that in my circle of people that I know? Who is that man I can go to? And believe you me, there's always be somebody who's willing to help you. 2 or 3 people who are willing to say, you know what, you have a question? Come, let's talk. So bless them. You want me to pray for them or what?
Those words were just even sufficient as a blessing. Batata, we are glad. Thank you for hearing us out. Let us also enjoy the break. Enjoy your break. Go serve your wife something nice. All right? Be a good man. Mr. Majigo, thank you.
Oh, welcome. Thank you, Charles. Mukulu Charles.
Yeah. This one went off.